Fake it till you make it. But until when? Let's get real. Hi, Sahil.
Hi.
So amazing to speaking to you again. We all know you as the co-founder of the Minimalist, and just not just we, but I think globally, the kind of work you guys are doing, and love how you have transformed the idea of creativity and design, and something like this sprouting up from India. It's fantastic to see it, right? Now, today in Lights Camera Founder, the idea is to get into your personal life and to know you better as a co-founder, to know the struggles, to know you authentically as a person. And we're really
Right.
looking forward to do that, Sahil. And the first thing that we're going to start off with is that tell us something about yourself in one line, besides the fact that you're the co-founder of the Minimalist.
Right. So first off, thank you so much for the kind words. Regarding the question about myself in one line, so I think I would define myself as a person who's obsessed with creativity and curiosity, driven by relationships, and really cares about doing something good for the world and helping people.
Amazing. Creativity and curiosity. That's a great one. Sahil, thanks for sharing that. Do you Okay, so do you feel that you are successful? Would you call yourself successful? Why or why not?
That really depends on how you define successful. Everyone has different way of defining it. I actually personally haven't even thought a lot about what successful means, because I often feel that thinking too much about it can put you on the wrong track. But if
Mhm.
you ask me for an answer to that, I would say success is when you can be happy and peaceful and you enjoy doing whatever you're doing in life. And if you use those two aspects as a barometer for success, then I think I'm fairly successful because whatever I do, I enjoy that. And I think I'm relatively calm and peaceful in life. I'm very fortunate to be doing those things.
Right. Thanks for sharing that, Sal. It's a very good perspective to have, right? I mean, I think with us founders, irrespective of all the new troubles that come every day, we still go back to saying that, next day I want to do the same thing, that is, be the co founder or be the entrepreneur to this thing that I'm doing, right? And I think that in itself, that trouble and the challenge in itself gives you another sense of peace, which I think is, you can't get from something else. So
Mm,
that's a great one to share. Now, talking about the struggles, etc., that we go through, when we are talking upfront on social media, etc., we hardly get the opportunity to say that, look, I am just like everyone else and I go through a lot of emotions, and sometimes those can be negative emotions as well. So I want to ask you about this very one interesting thing, which is, do you have fears, first of all? And what about your biggest fear as a founder? What is that biggest fear that you have as a founder?
mm. Um, do you have fears? I think every human has fears. If someone says they don't, they are lying,
Yeah.
because it's part of our biology. So, yes, of course, everyone has fears. Even I have fears. Earlier, they used to get to me much more. I think now I've figured out a way to manage them, at least
Mhm.
manage them a little more effectively than earlier. But I think in the initial phases of the journey, there's a fear. If you react to those fears, they can be really damaging. And I think unwittingly, I used to do that, at least in the initial phases. And of course, the initial phase of the journey is also full of daily struggles and a lot of things that bother you. So yes, if you're an entrepreneur, there will be fears. Right now, I think it's fairly manageable. Uh, you can't say the fears are not there, but it's manageable. And right now, if you ask me what my fears would be, I think it would be to become irrelevant. And
Hmm.
that is one, in the sense, me as a person in the company and the company itself, the company
Hmm.
becoming irrelevant, or me as a person contributing to the company becoming irrelevant. And secondly, I think uh, another fear would be to do something uh, that's wrong in the sense it hurts someone or creates
Hmm.
suffering for stakeholders that we work with, be
Hmm.
it people that work in our company or our clients or our partners, anyone.
Hmm.
Knowingly or unknowingly doing something that hurts people, yeah, that's something that we have to always be watchful of.
Right. Sal, if I may highlight, right? I just love how simply you put the fact that you have a fear of becoming irrelevant despite all the, I would say, innovative and modern day things that you guys are doing as a business, right? And a lot of people would not even fathom that the co-founder of the Minimalist can go through that fear of becoming irrelevant. So it's just it's such a simple thing, yet such a big thing that can go into a founder's mind. So really
Actually,
appreciate that.
just to add to that, I mean, the more you read, the more you realize that, the people who were the biggest hotshots or rock stars, or, the people who had, so to speak, arrived in the day,
Hmm. Hmm.
soon became irrelevant. So, I'm just a commoner in that larger scheme of things. So I think everyone faces that challenge, that some people see it sooner than later. But the more
Yeah.
you read, the more you realize that everything is impermanent and we are all always going through cycles. So I think you also always have to watch out for that possibility, regardless of who you are.
True that. True that. Well, now tell us something, and you and I were having this conversation earlier as well, that you're in a saturated space, and yet you guys managed to create a very unique space for yourself, right? Which is quite remarkable because it really tells us something about how you do things and how you're running the business. So, which brings me to the next question: that what would you say you and your co-founder did differently to make the Minimalist what it is today?
Right. I think a couple of things really helped us.
Mm-hmm.
And these were not necessarily architected by us very consciously. I think they just happened. And today I can give you answers about what happened, not necessarily the fact that we made it happen in some engineered way. So I think the first thing was the fact that we built a community initially. We started the Minimalist as a Facebook page, which went viral. There was a community of 100,000 plus followers who loved our work and started following us and asked for more all the time. And I think that traction led to a lot of clients reaching out to us organically, and that built the foundation for the company, which turned into a creative solutions company going forward, right? So it was the back of that success and that philosophy, which was pretty magnetic for clients back in the day, and even today, that helped us start the business. Of course, we didn't even know what community building is, or that this is a very common growth hacking technique today for building businesses. We just did what we were enjoying, and it resulted in this trajectory. And I think secondly, also, I mean, the fact that we are engineers entering the creative business, I think that also really helped us because it brings a left brain, right brain perspective, which is quite valued. And back in the day, we were working with a lot of tech startups. We, of course, continue to do that today. And I think somewhere, I think being an engineer also really is valuable for a client. I mean, that's what we are seeing, because it helps you bring in a lot of different perspectives, be it from a user experience perspective or a data driven perspective. So I think those are some of the advantages that probably helped us in our journey.
Yeah. It's really a very rare and a unique combination to have, Sahil. I always believe, and even when internally in Mindsphere we guys are working, we always say that you can always replicate technology. Like technically, whatever I'm doing, and when you try to explain it to the world, people say that technology is the defensible part, but actually it's not. It's not technology which is the defensible part. It's the creativity which is the defensible part, right? So, and being truly very creative is a hard thing to come by. But like you said, that I won't say it makes things easy, but it at least helps you guys to structure things in a right manner, like what you were saying, when you all with that whole engineering background and yet being the creative brains that you are. So great. And if I may ask, right, like just because you said the community thing, one more thing occurred to me. For people who would be watching it and maybe aspiring to build the next, let's say creative or something in the design industry, right? Would you say that it was a very speculative step that you guys took to make a community, given that you are selling directly to businesses, right? Like the business you guys are in, it's a B2B business.
Correct.
Right? And whereas the popularity the brand got was because of your Instagram and your Facebook page, like you said, right?
Right.
How do you see that? How do you see that panned out?
I mean, that's the thing that makes it so amusing and amusing even to us. Firstly, because it wasn't really planned that way. So when you ask, was it a speculative step? I wouldn't even say it was speculative because it was unplanned. In the sense, we didn't go to the drawing board and make a big, grand strategy roadmap that first we'll build a community, then clients will come and all that. So it just happened organically, and I think that's where being a beginner also really helped, because if you ask me to do that today, with all the knowledge I've accrued, all the experience that I've accrued in the 7 years, I would not do it because I know it won't work. But back in the day, I was so stupid that I didn't know that there's a possibility that this won't work, which is why we tried and it just worked out, right? So being a beginner, I mean, starting with a beginner's mindset is part of the advantage, because you don't know what you don't know, and sometimes that just works out for you. Sometimes it can be disastrous, but sometimes it just pays off. And I think in our case, which is why I say we were incredibly lucky that it paid off. But I think typically these are the growth hacks that you see in various businesses. Communities are formed and traction is achieved through modes that are really non-intuitive. I think that was the case for us too.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I think a lot of us run behind following certain formulas. When I say formulas, I mean to say things that have proven great for others before, and that does not allow us to think freshly. But I feel don't you call that thinking stupid, but please don't call that thinking stupid, Sahil, because I think what you guys just did was that you felt that it could be a right thing. You experimented with something and it worked, right?
Yeah. So it was more like, let's just see what happens and
yeah. And that's the approach that has. Great. Now coming to the devil's advocate side, Sahil. Entrepreneurship, we love it because we are entrepreneurs, but I know that there is always something bad that happens. What I want to know from you is that what is the worst thing entrepreneurship did to you, which made you say that no, now it can't get worse than this?
Probably I wouldn't be able to point out a single instance, but I think there are a lot of things. There are a lot of things rather about being an entrepreneur that or running a business that might not be very appetizing. And I think if this part is advertised more, people will get a more real sense of what it is like. So I think, like I said earlier, the initial years of the journey were very tumultuous. It was extremely hard to figure out how this industry works because we were total outsiders. So I would say the first 2-3 years went completely into figuring things out. How does this industry work? How do you hire talent? What do the really want? What is this jargon that they're throwing around, right? So it was like asking a designer to run a mechanical engineering firm, right? So I mean that was the kind of alienation that initially we faced. Of course, we were able to grasp things slowly with the help of a lot of mentors and advisors and industry folks. So I think initially trying to build a company where people would want to work and where clients would also come and stick around with us, that was a big challenge. And a lot of these organizational issues, when you're a small company, even small issues can become very big. Small amount of people leaving or small set of clients leaving can deal a very big blow to your business. And if you don't have the right tools to manage your own mind, those things can take a big toll on you. So I think I've had my share of nights where I would wake up, check my mail, and panic further and stuff like that. Be very anxious, always be thinking about what's going to happen and stuff like that. And I think overwork was a very common thing. I mean, when I look back at my emails and my WhatsApp discussions with some people, I realized that I used to just work too much. And I think your overall life takes a backseat when you're single-mindedly focused on business. So your health, physical health, mental health, all of these things take a beating. Your relationships, everything, but apart from the business, probably takes a beating. And fortunately, it didn't get really bad for me from a mental health point of view. And a couple of years ago, or rather last year, I went for a Vipassana meditation course. And I think that has been truly remarkable and transformational. And it happened because in 2019 I started doing meditation. So I think in the last 2-3 years, I think I've really saved myself from a lot of unnecessary woe and anxiety. And I'm very fortunate I came in contact with these techniques. So I would say if someone's facing troubles with all the anxiety and fear and worries. I think these things can really help you manage your fears and worries.
Super amazing. And Sahil, are you still very regular with your meditation? Like, do you still take out time to meditate, let's say every day, or like a certain set pattern in your routine for that?
Yes, I do. I do it every day, twice a day. And I mean, I went for the course last year, and after that, I've increased my practice, because the entire thing is that just sitting a course won't help you, as they say.
Correct.
You have to actually practice what you have learned every day.
Hmm.
And in fact, in Vipassana, they say that you have to take a course every year, ideally.
Okay.
So we're going to be going for my second one right now in March.
Okay. Okay.
And I found that to be extremely valuable. I mean, regardless of what you're doing, whether you're doing a business, whether you're a student, if you're even doing nothing, sitting at home doing nothing,
Hmm.
it is going to be life changing if you learn the technique properly and apply it to your life.
Hmm. Amazing. No, yeah. I've always been scared of it. I just feel that I don't have the patience to survive through it. But what's from everything that you are sharing, and I can just feel the calmness with which you are sharing that thing, and sounds very inspiring. No, great that you've taken our time to do this, and you are doing it again in March. So I think it means it definitely affected your life in a positive way, right?
Absolutely.
So it's a testimony to that. So that's great. Now, moving on to, Sahil, we want to know that while you inspire so many people out there with the minimalist, I'm sure that you have people who are inspiring you as well. We wanted to know if there is any one entrepreneur you actually look up to in your life, or, who's been sort of a guiding person for you, if at all.
Uh, I mean, there's lots of answers to that. There's no specific entrepreneur who I idolize. Of course, I look up to my dad because he's also an entrepreneur. He's also built a services company from scratch over the last
Okay.
decade or so, and he has been extremely helpful in guiding us through our journey, through all the tumultuous phases that we have been through, in terms of
Okay.
helping us build an organization, really, and set processes and guide us in business strategies. I think he's, of course, a person that I look up to, and who I give a lot of credit to for whatever we are today. And
Okay.
apart from that, I think I also look up to a lot of the entrepreneurs who are building social ventures for doing real good work, and bringing resources and aid to a lot of the unfortunate people. I really admire people who can dedicate their lives to helping other humans and improving the state of the world. I mean, I think they're not doing it for money or fame or anything. At least the ones who are doing it purely for doing good. I think I find that fascinating, and I hope I can even probably do 1% of what those guys are doing to improve the state of the world.
That's a very enthralling, I think, thought to have. And I hope that probably in the future you will be able to. And I think somewhere, with the kind of brands that you guys work with, I think you're already doing your part. I think that's the beauty of working on the creative and the design side and the industry that you're in, where it's just not that one brand that you're catering to, right? There are like these thousands and 10,000s of brands that you guys are working with. So thanks for sharing that, Sahil. I'm going to move on to the last question before our rapid fire. And this rapid fire is like a very fun one. My last question to you is that what would you say are the 3 emotions that describe you? So 3 emotions that we will find Sahil displaying in his everyday life.
One would be gratitude, for sure. Every day I feel extremely grateful for whatever I have. One is wonder. Wonder is very linked to curiosity. I mean, I'm always struck with a sense of wonder about how things work. There's just so much to learn, so I'm always trying to understand how these fascinating things work across a range of subjects. So wonder is one thing. And probably calmness.
Nice. Calmness I can definitely vouch for. Wonder, I think your work and the minimalist can vouch for that. So that's a great one.
Thank you.
So we're going to get into a fun segment, very quick one, and then we're going to end at one last thing that we're going to ask you. But let's get through the rapid fire first. So quick one. Let's start, yeah. So you know how it works, right? It's a this or that. You just tell me which one you prefer.
Sure.
Okay, beach or mountain?
Beach.
Beach. So if I ask you summer or winter?
Summer.
Summer. Work from home or work from office?
Work from home.
Okay. Would I rather meet you for coffee or beer?
Coffee, because I don't drink alcohol.
Oh,
I
okay.
quit alcohol.
That's a new revelation about you. All right. Hot coffee or cold coffee?
Cold coffee.
Okay. Would you rather travel to the US or would you rather travel to the UK?
UK.
Okay. The last one, which is somewhat related to, I think, the everyday work that you do, client management or creative designing yourself?
I would say client management. So
Are
that's
you
the
saying
harder
that?
one.
So are you saying that because I'm sure most of your time is now not like, I know that you might not be in everyday client calls, but I know that that's the bigger piece, right? Like strategically, senior clients would always
Yes.
be wanted to talk to you.
Yes.
But then do you miss the creative designing part?
No, actually, that was a very hard one. I mean, I said client management impulsively, but I mean, in fact, building relationships is also fun. So, which is why I said that, and it's a very critical thing. But yeah, I mean, if you ask me what I do all the time, I think I really enjoy coming up with inventive ideas and stupid ideas. So probably I would revise my answer to the creative aspect.
No, so I think you're trying to be both sides, but that's the fun of it. Okay, so Sahil, one last question to summarize and get to the end, and I hope it's going to be a fun one. So, anything about you or your co-founder or the minimalist that you think people don't know about?
So there are a couple of things. One, of course, is the fact that we are not funded. We are a completely bootstrapped business. And in fact, an even more fun fact, just as a sub note to that, is that it's not just bootstrapped. I think it's like a bootstrap from hell, because we have put 0 rupees into the company. So there was no seed capital also. Yeah,
Okay.
it literally started with us working for a client, getting that money, using that money to probably pay the deposit of an office, pay an intern. And then
how many companies do you have like that now? Like, because everyone is running after fundraising. So that's
right.
so cool.
And we were just students back then, with not even with no pocket money or nothing at all. So it really had to be that way. So
amazing.
That was an interesting fact. And secondly, people know us a lot because of the kind of unique work that they see on our Instagram. A lot of inventive and minimalistic ideas. The fact is that when we started, we actually were using those to create awareness around social issues. So we were doing a lot of work around child labor, menstruation, sexual harassment, female dignity and stuff like that. And we have also worked with a lot of social organizations to help them in a pro bono manner. So we have worked with the Logical Indian. We have worked with Robin Hood Army. By the way, Robin Hood Army is also a fantastic organization. So we help them a lot. Somewhere there's a angle of doing good through social initiatives as well. So I think that's something that probably gets sidelined, but that is something that we deeply care about as well.
Beautiful. So Sahil, this was so cool that I do have 2 messages just to put it out for everyone, right? The first thing that you guys of the Minimalist have beautifully put out is that the focus should be building the brand and the business, right? Things can be scaled, business can be scaled even without fundraising. Because nowadays I feel a lot of upcoming founders are getting so focused on fundraising because they think that's the milestone or that's the end or that's the destination. But the truth is that the more you can run your business with the product or the service, and it can get a very organic, I think, returns to it, the better it is, right? I feel that is somewhere we can say it's true success. So that's one. And secondly, thanks so much for sharing about the sideline stuff that you do over here. Which is just not commercial based, but how creative expression can be used to just create awareness about all of these things. And now, having said that, Sal, I'm very excited that probably this year we would love to also collaborate with you guys to do something for Mind Spheres. We are always looking for a lot of creative inspiration, and it'd be super cool to do something
Definitely.
together. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sahil. Really appreciate the time you made for us today. And I'm sure it's just not me, but so many people are going to get to know this hidden side of yours. Thanks for sharing, and thank you for making the time.
Thank you so much. It was a real pleasure coming here. Thank you.
Same. Thanks.